Good afternoon and welcome back to another bar by bar analysis here on my channel. Today is March 4th, 2022, and today we're looking at a 2000 tick chart. I have a 21 EMA indicator and a 200 EMA indicator plotted on my chart. These are the only indicators I use. I like to keep things as simple as possible. So let's focus on price action, drawing in our trend lines, technical analysis to make our trades for today. And we will just get right into it, starting by drawing our overnight highs at the top here and overnight lows here at the bottom. I found it a little bit difficult trying to figure out the channels here. It's not necessarily perfect. We have prices moving from overnight lows up to the overnight highs, pushing strongly below EMA with the break of this channel moving down, attempt at a new low. Prices are pushing up, strongly pushing above EMA, making somewhat of a double top up here before prices come back to test this EMA again, pushing back down. And so a little bit of confusion on exactly where the market's going, but ultimately we do have this trading range at play here with prices moving up and down below EMA. As the market opens, we get a nice bearish bar. Most likely prices are going to push back down to these overnight lows as they swing back and forth. And what I saw here was a new low with a first entry short. Prices ticked up, trapping people trying to go long here, and it reversed for a second entry short. I entered this on an engulfing bar, so I entered right below the stop where people were trying to go long, and then I exited right here. So there's 2 points that I scalped for. The way I saw it, there was plenty of room down to the lows here. I also saw this as a very similar setup to what we saw a few days ago. You can also see prices were moving down, drawing this channel off this swing, first entry short, second entry short, engulfing bar. A little bit aggressive. It is market open, but I was taking advantage of that volatility and the volume that was coming in at 8:30, and I just capitalized and ended up taking that trade. Runner got stopped out. And it was kind of hard to see. This was a lower high that I think some people could have argued taking. I didn't like the signal bar. I'll mark it, but prices continue to hold below EMA. This channel, at least this channel that we had off this first swing, was holding. That's a potential trade you got to take in, but I definitely was more interested in a better looking signal bar than that. But still plenty of room to the lows. You would have been able to scalp out before prices continue to push back down. We have this new high off this swing with a first entry long, second entry long failure. So some people also saw that as a failed second entry long, and with a new low, first entry short coming down, second entry short right here, and that's why that indicator is marking that, pushing down to the lows. So that's a trade you could have argued. It was kind of hard to see in the moment, but given a better bearish signal bar, I probably would have entered that. As prices come down here, we're not trying to pick bottoms, but we have to recognize this 200 EMA at work here. Prices are finding a level of support here at the 200 EMA. So I'm not trying to pick a bottom. I'm not trying to go long just yet, but I'm starting to think that if we start getting higher lows off these bottoms or even lower highs off the top, those could be entries that we could take. And while they're a little bit aggressive, it makes sense, right? That's the whole point of having an indicator, is to kind of let us know what's going on. So as prices come down, it's finding a level of support here off this 200 EMA with a new low, and this is a higher low that takes place. I'm going to go ahead and mark that as aggressive, just because we're in a downtrend and you're going against the trend, but you are finding a level of support off the 200 EMA. Prices move up, and let's see here. If you entered on the tick, 650 up to 825, so I think that's 7 ticks, just under 2 points before prices tick down, new low, first entry short, second entry short, trapping all these traders trying to go short again with this trend, with this channel here that we have in play. But again, finding this level of support here at the bottom. You have 200 EMA that's continuously been holding prices, and prices are just continuing to do that. Another higher low opportunity. You're trapping in second entry shorts here. I'd argue this is probably more of a confident trade that I would take, just because that's a nice bearish bar. We're anticipating prices to push down to the opposite end of the channel, but we're not getting that. We're getting that rejection off the support. So I'd look at potentially going long here. If you enter on 7 and you get out at 9, that's a 2-point move right there. This next bar prints and you have a new low, first entry short, second entry short that fails. Coming off this EMA, some people could argue taking a short right here. I think it's fairly aggressive because you're going short into this EMA. As nice of a bearish signal bar that is, that's going to trap people trying to go short. But I really wasn't looking at shorts at this time. I was thinking with this 200 EMA coming up, we could be looking to take a trap here. And that's exactly what happens is people get sucked into this trade trying to go short off the EMA, but 200 EMA is doing a really good job of holding. And when we get this bullish signal bar here, I look at going long here. A lot of trades that we're taking here at the open, I don't normally trade like this, but in the market with how it's been lately, I'm starting to recognize better setups that I could potentially be taking, and that's just something I saw. The only thing I'd argue here is you potentially have some sort of range working here, right? But I was fairly confident that 200 EMA was going to hold. And depending on how you enter this order, you definitely would have been out for a scalp and potential runner. As prices find the support moving back up, trying to test the overnight highs here, we don't want to forget to draw in our short-term trends working up with a break, looking for a new high with a first entry long, prices come down. Second entry long triggers above this bearish signal bar, but um, so I'm not looking to go long here. You could argue trying to go long here. You had a break looking for a new high. This could be, I could possibly see myself taking this. I don't think I did. There was never a trigger, but I was getting ready to take it. So I'm not going to confuse people, but if there was a trigger above this bar, we had that break of that short term up looking for a new high back up to overnight highs, I would have looked at taking that. Prices move down below EMA here. No really trades that I see. If we extended this range just a little bit, you'll see prices kind of reacting off the resistance level now of this trading range. Prices push strongly above EMA, and that's that break new high. So this uptrend has essentially played out. So I'd be very hesitant about taking any shorts. But as we continue to see, prices are moving strongly above EMA, not looking to take any long trades far from EMA. Prices continue to push up. At this point, I was looking for potential shorts, but with how strongly we pushed above these overnight highs, really wasn't looking to take any trades at this point. We have this trend line moving up with a break, looking for a new high. And when talking about trying to short here, I was trying to find a second entry short, finding a way to go short and fade this breakout, but at the same time not trying to pick a top, right? Just like down here, I'm not trying to pick a bottom. I was waiting for that higher low. So here I'm looking for a lower high opportunity to potentially go short. But as prices kind of chop along here, we spend a good amount of time. Let's see if it's 9:56. Prices continue to chop along for at least 10 minutes, and this was a very rough time to sit through because really didn't know exactly where prices were going to go. This is that barbed wire area with all these stems where people get chopped up. So just best to stay out of these. And as prices were consolidating and waiting for EMA to catch up, I was hesitant, very hesitant about going long. You get this nice signal bar right off EMA, but with all this choppiness, I just wasn't interested in going long here. Let's see here. Prices continue to chop along, and you get this bullish bar. We do have a short-term trend working down. That's technically a break. Looking for that new low, so not looking to go long above there. And these are prices moving to a new low. That's the new low, but again, not trying to pick a bottom. We are coming up on this 200 EMA, but I think it's still a little too early to go long. For those that entered, you would have made the scalp for sure, but I just think it's too aggressive trying to go long there. We have prices coming back to test these overnight highs with a new low. First entry short, prices come back up above overnight highs, and the second entry short triggers below this bullish bar as prices attempt to come back down to EMA. I extend the range a little bit, still really no trades to take. You really have to sit on your hands and be patient. You do get that failure, the trigger above this bullish bar happens over here, but you're not looking to go long into this level of resistance that we have up here, especially with these overnight highs. You really just got to wait it out. More price action prints. Second entry long here. And this was one that I think I tried taking, but it left without me. My thought process was, okay, well, we tried pushing down into this range again, but we quickly failed, pushed back strongly above EMA. 200 EMA is continuing to work up as well. And with the room to the highs here, I was interested in going long right off EMA after this nice bullish push. We have a new high with the first entry long prices come down for a second entry long. You are going long into this level of resistance here, but you could also argue we got to extend the range just a little bit to accommodate more of this price action. So maybe somewhat aggressive, but I felt confident taking it. Again, it left without me. I'm still trying to work on whether I should be using stop orders or limit orders to make sure I get into these trades. But that's definitely a scalp there. Runner comes back and gets knocked out, and that's another trade that you could have taken for the day. As prices continue to chop here along EMA, you really see this range at work. We also have this, I probably should have backed up. We have this new low with a first entry short. Prices come up, trapping traders going long off this higher low. Second entry short. But as we're pushing up, I literally didn't even see that. I'm not really interested in that. But there's a second entry short you could have gotten. You have room to the lows. If you managed to see that, you could have gotten that trade. But with just being in this range, not really interested. Um, and after taking this trade, my focus really was on a more bullish bias. And so my bias was long. I wasn't looking to go short. As prices come back down, we have to draw in our short-term trends. We can't forget. And then prices come back down to the lows of this range before breaking and looking to make a new low. But we don't get that. I was potentially interested in a higher low coming off EMA, and we did get one here, but I really wasn't a fan of the signal bar. I wanted to wait a little bit, extending the range here to accommodate more price action with a new low first entry short, and prices come down, potential second entry short that never triggers, coming back up to the top of this range. And there's a nice bearish bar you could potentially go short on. I think it is a little bit risky. My bias really at this time was long. I wasn't looking to take shorts, and this you'd consider this potentially taking a top. So I don't think I would enter here. I look for a lower high if I was going to go short back into the range against this trend. We have 200 EMA continuing to work up, prices pushing strongly above 21 EMA. So I'm not really interested in that. Some people would have been in this trade trying to go back into the range, but you already see 21 EMA starting to come back up. Prices consolidate just a little bit. I think you'd have a little bit of time to potentially skunk the trade and try and get out. Those that entered that short would have been stopped out and prices would have continued to push up. We have this short-term trend up with a break new high. So this uptrend has essentially played out, but as EMA continues to push higher, I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to make new highs. We have this new high up here with a first entry long, and prices come back holding at EMA for a second entry long. This was another trade that I got in, but I think I ended up skunking it just because I didn't like how long I was in the trade for. New high, first entry long, second entry long, holding above EMA, holding off the resistance of this trading range. So now it's acting as a support. I enter this trade, put my stop one tick below this swing here, and I was in this trade for quite a little bit of time. I think I was going for 2 points at the time, and I ended up backing out of this trade. I think I ended up skunking it as it came back down because I didn't like this little bit of stagnant movement. That being said, you could, if you had it, there was an uptrend working up, and it's pretty clear to see. Depending on the type of channel that you had drawn working up, change the color here. You could have had this channel, this blue channel at play, prices holding nicely here at the EMA, prices kind of rounding out here, looking to go higher. So I think if I had seen something like that, I would have stayed in that trade a little bit longer. After the fact, it's very easy to see that it's a trade that's most likely to work out. But that's one thing I'm still working on, is just trying to be as patient as possible. I entered this trade 10:17, and I was in this trade for nearly almost 10 minutes, and it really just didn't feel good. If you enter 60.25, you still wouldn't be out of this trade if you were going for 2 points. Your target would have been 225. This next bar print's still not out, so you would have been out on this bar here, which doesn't print until 10:30 Central Time. So from 10:17 to 10:30, you're stuck in this trade, and that's why I just decided to skunk that trade and get out of it. I didn't like it. So by no surprise, prices continue to move up. We can definitely extend this channel that we had at play. It is a little bit wide for my liking, but we know that prices are moving up, break new high. Potentially this uptrend is played out, but we're pushing very strongly in this trend. Not really looking to go short at all during this time. Prices come back down to EMA. I'd be interested in a second entry long or higher low opportunity. We have a new high here with a first entry long and potentially a failed second entry short. Boom, failed second entry short. So we have a new low, prices come up. First entry short, second entry short, prices holding off EMA here. We have a maybe possibly a slight break of this trend line, but some people could even extend that. I don't even think that's a bad idea. We also have this new high with the first entry long, prices come down. Second entry long, it would have been great if we had a little bit better of a signal bar, but I would definitely go long on this trade. Depending on how it forms, you either would have definitely gotten the scalp or you would have gotten, I don't know if it went down first or up first. If we went down first and then came back up, great entry there. But if we went up, down, and then back up, you would have potentially gotten stopped out. But most likely, I think that trade would have worked out. Prices continue to work up, and that's definitely a great trade, solid trade. You would have had to wait a little bit, 1045, right? Since getting out of this trade here, 1030. So that's 15 minutes of price action. You got to be really patient in this market, especially lately. That's just how it's been. But that's just how it is sometimes when you trade this market. So prices continue to move up. This channel seems to be holding nicely. New high, a higher low opportunity, but I also see prices losing a little bit of steam here. We have this channel at play. We're expecting prices to keep pushing to the top of this channel here. We're not quite getting it. And as prices start to hold within the bottom portion of this channel, I'm hesitant to go long again. Some people potentially get into this higher low and potentially scalp out here. We also have a new high with a first entry long, second entry long, holding nicely off the bottom of this channel at EMA. That's another risk I say you'd have to take. Higher low off this swing, you'd put your stop one tick below this bar here. Just to be conservative, you are risking a little bit more for sure. But if you want this trade to work out, you have room to the highs here. First entry long, second entry long, you're in this trade. Prices seem to move just a little bit. They come back down, but you'd still be in this trade taking off this higher low. You'd be in this trade for long enough, you potentially skunk out of it. This is a higher low opportunity. If you're looking to double down, you have a new high with a first entry long, second entry long. Another possible opportunity if you wanted to double that position, or let's say you're too far from EMA, you're not interested in taking this, or maybe you saw this as more of an aggressive trade, right? Because by this time you see, okay, that's definitely more of an aggressive trade, but price is holding here at EMA, second entry long, looking to go long above this bar. Boom, you're in this trade and prices move up, and I think you'll get the scalp for sure. Even if you entered on the tick 550 up to 725, so that's 7 ticks, just shy of 2 points. So depending on what you're going for, that could have been a trade that you take. Prices come back down and would have stopped you out. This is why I said it is a little bit risky trying to go long after you're not making pushes here to the top of the channel. But thinking psychologically through this, you're sitting through all this price action. You really got to be patient. That's just what I see, and maybe I'm being a little bit too impatient with it. Depending on how many points you're going for, maybe if you try and chase it one tick, you pull back one tick on your profit. Potentially could have gotten out of that before prices come back down and push below EMA. Easy break, clear to see. And by this time it's 11, let's see, it's 11:45 Central Time. So I'm going to stop the analysis there. Already it's 12 o'clock Central Time. So price action just moving very slow. ATR is just over 2.1. It's been a little bit difficult to trade lately with how slow price action has been. You had these few aggressive trades that you could have taken in the first 10 minutes of market open, but you really got to be attentive. You got to be reading the market correctly, because people could have easily taken a second entry short either here off this channel, or if they waited for prices to push back up to EMA, people could have easily taken this bearish bar looking to go long, or sorry, looking to go short. But what kept me out of that trade was this 200 EMA. So it has its benefits of me using it, and that's why I do it. That being said, I hope that you guys had a successful trading day. Tomorrow's a new day. If you guys guys didn't do as well as you'd like today, just continue to review the chart, refine your strategy so that you're consistently profitable. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. As long as you're doing something and you're profitable doing it, that says a lot about how you trade. So just continue to refine your skills. I appreciate everyone that's been watching these videos. If you enjoyed it, if you got something out of it, leave a like, subscribe, turn on your post notifications so you know exactly when I post these videos, and feel free to share it with a friend. Someone else might find this information useful, and it never hurts to have that additional resource. So that's all I got for today. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.